Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Darkhorse Dental Success Pod. I am delighted to have on Dr. Ivy today, and she's got a ton of experience. I know we've been talking with existing practice owners. We've been talking with new startups. This one is someone we haven't spoken to before. She has done major renovation to an existing office while staying open, and wanted to bring her on because she's a pretty special lady here. So Ivy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Hey, so you've got a pretty unique background. Where did you grow up, and take my audience through what you're about?
Sure. So I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and my mother's Colombian, my dad's Armenian, and met in LA and got married, had me and my three sisters. And yeah, I grew up in like a suburb in the valley, San Fernando Valley. So, um, and yeah, I went to college at UC Santa Cruz. I'm a banana slug. and, and then I went to dental school at UC San Francisco.
Mhm.
And I went to residency at USC for pediatric dentistry. So I've stayed in California my whole life.
And so how did you decide, or did anybody in your family in the dental field? How did you get pulled into this crazy world?
No, actually, I'm the first in my family to graduate from college. So that was a little challenging to navigate because I didn't really have people in my immediate family to help me with the process. But I did have a really great dentist growing up, and I did go through braces, and I was so fascinated by the process during orthodontics that I decided I want to be an orthodontist. I had a bad experience as a kid with dentistry, had lots of cavities and things like that. So I didn't really enjoy going to the dentist, but
Sure.
my dentist was cool. And then I realized to be an orthodontist, you have to go to dental school first. And I didn't know that. So I kind of researched the process. That was all in high school. And I knew going into college that I wanted to pursue dentistry so that I can eventually go into orthodontics. And things changed a little bit. I still wanted to do orthodontics in first year of dental school, and then kind of got introduced to all the different specialties, and I fell in love with pediatric dentistry, and I loved it because you can do orthodontics and
Yeah.
dentistry and pediatric dentistry. So yeah, now I'm a pediatric dentist.
That's amazing. I was reading a little bit about your background, and that you spent some time at the Children's Hospital in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so most residency programs are 2 years. Some are three, but USC was a 2 year program, or is a 2 year program. And we have different hospitals and that we rotate through and are assigned to our second year. And so I was a CHLA resident, so Children's Hospital Los Angeles. And at Children's Hospital, there is a dental clinic inside the hospital, and all of our patients there are special needs. So it
Wow.
was a, an experience just to, every child has something going on. We treat them all the same, but I was exposed to so many things that you only see in like textbooks. And
Yeah.
like I felt so comfortable finishing residency, being able to see basically any patient I can handle because of my experience there. So it was
Yeah.
awesome, and I love CHLA. And I worked
Mhm.
after residency. I worked there. That was my first job after residency.
Wow. Yeah. That's a very transformational experience. In my life, we had a really good family friend, and they had an autistic, like severely autistic kid, and I would, babysit from time to time, and I babysat other kids, and that really gave me an appreciation for how hard it is to like I would only be there for what 4 hours at most, and this was their daily life, and Yeah, I kind of had that same feeling that you mentioned that, well, I can get through this, right? I can watch Aladdin, the intro to Aladdin 100 times repeatedly. If I can do this, I can get past anything. Or, take care of any child out there. So
Uh,
I really connect with that.
yeah, it was such a great learning experience for me, and I feel
Mhm.
really grateful. And I love to see patients with special needs, and it just, connecting with the parents and having them feel like comfortable with a provider that can feel comfortable treating their child is really important for them. So I welcome special needs patients in our
Yeah.
practice. So
Yeah. Yeah. They must be really comfortable when they hear about your background.
yeah.
Well, it's great. How did you go to acquire the practice that you're working in now?
So that's a I'll try to make it as brief as possible because I wasn't looking to buy a practice at the time that everything happened.
Yeah.
I had a newborn, and I was looking for a job that was kind of closer to home so I could be
Mhm.
more flexible, just taking care of my son and
Yeah.
not being so far because my commute was like 45 minutes. And so I reached out to some
Mhm.
practices in the area, and what this practice owner
Mhm.
reached back out to me and said they weren't looking for an associate, they were selling their practice. And so I kind of, I told him I wasn't looking to buy, but I was like, well, I might as well just learn more about it. And then everything just checked off, and like thinking more and more about it, I always knew I wanted to do practice ownership, private
Mhm.
practice. And it was just there, it just, was the right time, I guess. Everything worked out, and that's how it happened.
That's awesome.
Everything, fell into place well. And I think what made it really easy, I mean, it wasn't easy, but what made it easier was that the previous practice owner and I really got
Mhm.
along really well. We had the same practice philosophy. He had a really great reputation in the area. It was in
Yeah.
a nice community, like,
Mhm.
and he mentored me. So that's how I was able to do it, or else I don't know what I would
Yeah,
do.
it's
We
yeah,
had an agreement for him to stay on for a while, so, and
it's
he
great.
he was willing to, because he had a lot of he wanted to make sure his practice was going into good hands. So
Yeah.
I think that's how it all kind of worked out for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really great because you definitely hear all these stories about dentists that are just like, bye. I don't really care what happens to my patients. And that, obviously he transitions practice to someone who deeply cares in their patients. That's pretty obvious. And my dad is in his last year of his like 3 year but usually you see like it lasts maybe 3 months and then the new doctor is like, get out of here. Like, go, go,
Yeah.
go, go. But the thing that's so important, like, obviously you're a first time business owner, just as I am. And any help we can get, it's like the work is the easy part, like, seeing
Yeah.
patients, easy part. It's the, the hiring, the HR, the just random fires that pop up that, at this point, sometimes I appreciate them, but most of the time I'm just like, oh my God, what happened today? People amaze me. It's really nice that, you bought the practice from someone like that.
Yeah. And I still contact him at least a couple times a week, and talk to him on the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, tell me about this patient. Or if I have a
Yeah.
question about, with staff, I know
Mhm.
like he has tons of experience, and he just knows how to handle those situations. And
Yeah.
I think it's like crucial to have someone to help you, mentor you, as a new business owner.
Yeah. So we're going to transition into social media. And this is somewhere where you're from, I follow a lot of people, but you are in the top one, maybe top one of 1% in
No.
terms of content. Like it's funny. It's just the volume. It's awesome. Now, You last time I checked, unless you've been canceled or something, you have 7,667 followers. That's incredible. I mean, dental. It's hard to make dental exciting and sexy, and somehow you've managed to do this. Is this something like you sat down and you had a strategy to do, or like how did you amass this, I mean, rather large following of people paying attention to what you're doing?
Okay, so I was always really into like Instagram. I started my Instagram in 2000, what was it? 17, I think it was, or 18, I'm not sure. And at that time, I knew I wanted to separate it from like my private Instagram and make like a brand basically for myself, for my name. And so I decided I wanted to share things about pediatric dentistry, about my life, about residency, because I was still a resident at that time. And I I didn't know like how far it would take me, or I just kind of just something to do for fun, you know.
Mhm.
And I think I got a lot of positive feedback from the very beginning on how like some of the tips were so helpful, or I love when you share about this. Thank you so much. And then I started sharing like my pregnancy journey, and just a lot of moms and women,
Mhm.
dads too, have, you know, just related to a lot of the things that I've shared. And I think that's kind of what has helped my page grow, is just
Mhm.
being relatable. And that's what attracts people to a page. Like, why do you follow someone? It's because you find their content relatable, and so you want to see
Yeah.
more, and so they share and more people follow you that way.
Yeah.
So I think always at the end of the day, whenever I post something or share something, I always try to make it relatable to one of my followers, because I have parents who follow me, I have students who follow me, I have, you know, just, they don't have to be students or parents, but I just try to make it relatable to my
Yeah.
my niche.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really great. I have personally struggled with trying to make IT interesting and relatable to dentists. It might be a frivolous pursuit, but I'm gonna die trying. I even joined TikTok recently, and I posted 3 videos. So I would love
Wow.
your opinion on those at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I think like not just being relatable, but another
Yeah.
thing that helps is what does that offer the person who's watching
Mhm.
or following you? Like, if sometimes people, if it's if it's just, you know, random like pictures of things, like why are they going to continue following you? You have to have, give them some value to what you're sharing. So either tips
Mhm.
or something that's relatable,
Hmm.
something nice to look at. But that's how you grow.
Nice. Yeah, I think I have a tough time. I get like lost in this, like, I'm the expert, so I kind of lose sight of like the small tip stuff, and I just get I'm like, oh, this stuff's so complicated. I spend all my time on this, and I think that's one thing I really appreciate, because I've learned, and I'm taking notes, believe it or not, from you, is how to make that digestible and relatable. And I also appreciate the thing about you started your business Instagram, because
Oh
there
yeah.
is this kind of like hidden part of, do I want to share that I'm on vacation? Yes, I'm allowed to go on vacation, but like when a client sees that, or potential client, they're like, well, that's where my money's going, Rubens in Aruba, right? Or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so I recently made a Instagram profile for my office, and
Mhm.
it's a good place. It's like good to like separate, you know, some of the personal and business things. And
Yeah.
you know, for especially for like patients who are in the practice, like sharing things, announcements and things like that on the business page
Mhm.
is more applicable, because that won't apply to like my followers who are in different states, so
Yeah.
but one good tip that I've learned is surveying your followers on like a question box, and like saying like, what kind of things do you guys want to see, or making a survey on Google and sharing it in your profile, and just be like, hey, can you take this quick survey and let me know what kind of things and content would you guys like to see? What kind of things would you think, like just recommendations. And so there'll be a few people that respond, and hopefully more, and that can kind of help guide you into what types of things you should share.
Yeah, because I mean, it's almost like a podcast, right? If you don't release it like every week, like a drum beat, then people will just kind of go somewhere else. So far we have Ivy's pro tips: be relatable, and if you're not relatable, go find an acting coach. Is there? You're in LA, so I'm sure there's plenty of acting coaches out there. And then poll your viewers on what they want to hear from you. That's something that I'm gonna take.
Another tip that is really important is showing your face and communicating with your like audience. People want to see human interaction like on social media. So you have to kind of be like, get over that hump and not be so scared to talk on camera, on
Sure.
stories, and with stuff that you share. So just kind of, so I remember in the very beginning, I hated it, and I would record like, here's my phone, like the story like 3 times, watch it, like cringe, and then just post it. And then people will, like, it's amazing. Like people respond more to and reply more, and just because they relate more to you seeing your face and hearing you than just like words on a screen.
You're a real person, and it's like you have to for audio, right? You have to get over hearing your own voice and cringing all the time. It's taken me a long time, but now I have to edit all these podcasts because I'm not going to outsource this. So I have to listen to this all over again, hear my voice. So I try to talk as little as possible. So I'm gonna keep asking you more questions so I don't have to. Okay, I read on your bio that you're a huge Disney fan, and I want to know what your favorite movies are, because I'm a big Disney fan as well.
Okay. So like my first like OG favorite Disney movie is The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Yeah. Love The Little Mermaid. Yeah. And now my son is 2 years old, and I'm not gonna lie, like he gets screen time. Like it's impossible to get stuff done at home without screen time. And so my husband and I are okay with it, and it's not like he's watching it all day, but he does rotate through Cars, Coco, and Wall-E every, like, those are his 3 movies. And I've seen Coco maybe like 200 times. And every time I watch it, it's just so entertaining, and like so, like,
it's
I
so
find
emotional though.
new.
I have a hard time watching that one. I mean, Wall-E as well has some like secret emotional stuff to it. That's hilarious. Little Mermaid.
It's like very techy and like very you.
Oh yeah, the Disney. I don't know what it is.
Wall-E.
My wife and I love animated movies. So it's like Moana, and we love Hawaii too. So it's like anything that's Hawaii based. So we'll watch, not Disney related, but The Descendants, because it's like that it's filmed all over the islands, and Kauai is probably our favorite place on the planet to go to.
Yeah, I love Hawaii. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah, seriously. World, please, everyone get the vaccine as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Do it for me. Do it for Ivy. Don't do it for...
Yeah. Can't wait.
That's awesome. Yeah. Coco is an unbelievable movie. For me, it was I made my parents, this is going to sound really weird, watch Mary Poppins, the original, like 300 times. And don't know, but that was something I loved when I was a tiny kid.
Oh yeah, I loved it too as a kid. I think the music, the dancing, it's just like I watched it a million times too. And Lady and the Tramp was another one that I watched a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, that's awesome. So you know you've been through a lot in your journey as a student, a dentist, a mother, a wife. Like looking back, like what what were one or maybe a few things you said, wow, I wish I had done that a little bit different. That would have saved me a couple gray hairs.
Well, I feel like I'm still learning so much like every day that I it's pretty incredible like this past year how much I've learned with the whole practice and being a mom. And I I really don't think about too much about how like I could have done things differently. It's because I feel like it's all just a learning experience. So in general, I'm not a very stressed person. So I try not to let things like get to me. But if I could think of one thing, and it's not like what I would do differently, but it's more advice like for other people too, is I think that's helped me a lot too, is being like communicating with people and just asking for help. And you'll be surprised, like just reaching out to someone to ask for their advice on a certain topic, or even if you don't know them or aren't too or don't know them well, like reaching out, more than likely people are willing to help you. And so like for people who don't know where to start or have questions about certain things and like are stressing out about how to answer those, like you
Yeah.
really like it really helps to have someone guide you and help you with those things that you need help with. Like I have, luckily in residency, I was paired with mentors, and I had a lot of faculty that are still in the area, even if they're not. And I text them, reach out to them, call them all the time, and they're more than willing to help. So I think that's like my biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid. It's not, the help isn't going to come to you. You really have
Yeah.
to reach out and
Be, don't be
ask.
too proud. I've been like you. I've been like I am. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, right? But maybe I'll outwork everybody. But
Mhm.
that also means I'll just ask, how did you get successful, right? And that's one piece of advice I got early on is, if you are resentful of wealth and you're resentful of success, you will never be either of those things, right? You have to listen and ask and then copy what they do, right?
Yeah.
I just learned there's something called a backdoor Roth IRA yesterday from asking questions. So maybe that will save me $5,000 a year. Who knows? But yeah, but don't
Yeah.
assume like this is such a good point. Like, don't assume you know everything, and like, or don't be afraid to ask. Like, people love to be asked their opinion,
Yeah. Totally.
and share their life stories. And just like as you mentioned, like getting over the fear of posting online and putting yourself out there. That's something as business owners and just as people, you get over and get over it really quickly because
Yeah, it's really scary. And even for me with the transition with the practice, it was hard because the previous owner was at this practice for almost 40 years. And then I come in and it's like I'm not gonna it was really hard for me to put my name on the door and put my name outside and do this transition. But like you just have to kind of get over that fear and know that a lot of people are in your shoes too. And there's lots of resources for help. And you're you can do it basically.
yeah. Yeah, well, you're a very positive person. You inspire me to be more positive, I think.
Oh.
It's tough when it's cold and you have 3 feet of snow in upstate New York. I know it doesn't snow in LA. If it did, you guys would lose your minds. And
It's like 70 something degrees right now.
ah, I I yearn for going outside. We're almost there. It's a
No, you know what? It's actually felt like a long winter in LA a little bit too. I think like
Mhm.
with COVID, it just, made it feel long. I don't know. It's finally warming up here, and so things are looking up.
That's awesome. Yeah, and thank you for joining us. This was so great. I want to recap the social media advice because I think this is something that is really important. It was be relatable. Ask your audience what they want to hear from you. Showing your face, showing you're a real human being, and get over your fear. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Imitate your best Ted Lasso. Just get out of here. Um, this is awesome. I appreciate you coming on, and if you could share with my audience how they find you online, how they follow along with me.
Yeah, sure. I'm on Instagram, and my username is the Peds Dentist, and my office Instagram is Grin Garden, Grin Garden,
Yeah.
and I also have a website, thepedsdentist.com. I need to update that, and yeah, I mean, I'm pretty easy to, you know, access. So if you reach
Yeah.
out to me, send me a DM. I'm pretty good about responding. So if anyone
Yeah.
has any questions,
Awesome. Ivy, thanks so much for coming on.
you're welcome.
All right. Take care now.
Okay, thank you. Bye.